Hi everybody, it's Mike from Gemco Fuel here in Long Island, New York. Today I wanted to talk to you about the Beckett Aquasmart. The Beckett Aquasmart, in my opinion, is probably one of the greatest things that you can do to your boiler to start saving you some real money right away without having to go through the expense of anywhere between $5,000 and $12,000 to replace your boiler. So why don't we talk about some of the features, benefits of the Aquasmart, and then we'll take a look at it. If you're using a boiler to give you hot water, if you don't have an indirect or a separate hot water storage heating system, you're using your boiler to get hot water. If you're doing that, let me explain a scenario that's probably happening in your home. You get in the shower, you have it all adjusted nice, and you're only in that shower a couple of moments. And what happens? It starts to cool down a little bit on you. So what do? You make the temperature a little hotter. You turn that valve a little hotter. Well, stay in long enough to shave or just to allow that nice hot water to soothe those aching muscles. And what starts to happen? It starts to get really hot and you wind up having to lower the temperature. So while you're in the shower, you're constantly playing with that valve, making it colder, making it hotter, making it colder, adjusting up and down all the time. Why is that? Well, typically Aquastats, the device that tells the burner to turn on and to turn off, tells the boiler to turn off at a high temperature, usually about 180 degrees. Tells it to turn on at a low number, usually about 160 degrees. So you've got a 20-degree variance between your high and your low, turn off, turn on. On top of that, you have a liquid of the thermometer, the Aquastat, that tells it to turn off, turn on. That liquid has to expand and contract. That takes some time. That time is going to equate to degrees. So you add the 20-degree spread plus maybe 10 degrees, 20 degrees for the thermometer, the liquid, to expand and contract. And now you're talking about 30, 40-degree difference. You're going to feel that in the shower. So by replacing your Aquastat with a Beckett Aquasmart, you're going to put in a computerized solid-state thermistor that in milliseconds, faster than I can snap my fingers, it's going to tell a computer brain the temperature, either rise or decrease, actual time, the actual temperature, not a range, not an adjustment, not a guess, but the actual temperature. This brain is now going to decide what to do with that. In the case of a shower where the water temperature is dropping quickly, the thermistor is going to tell the Aquasmart that the temperature is dropping rapidly. It's now going to know something is using its heat. It's not going to know necessarily what, but it's going to turn on to replenish the heat that it sees is being taken very quickly. Now in the shower, you're going to feel a smooth, consistent temperature as opposed to that range going up and down that you're experiencing now. If you have a separate hot water heater or an indirect, there's no reason to have your boiler be on its standby in that 160, 180 degree range. The boiler can physically turn off and go to what's referred to as cold start. The boiler will stay off at room temperature here until there's a demand for heat or a demand for hot water coming from the indirect, in which case the boiler will be turned on, or the burner will be turned on, heating up the water that's in the boiler, supplying the demand to heat or hot water, and then shutting down again. In a scenario like that, you might save yourself 20% on your fuel costs by just simply adding in the Beckett Aquasmart. So let's take a look at a boiler behind me, and we'll look at the Beckett Aquasmart, and we'll look at some of the features that the thing is going to do for you. We'll take a look at some of the attachments that are on this particular boiler. So let me just grab this camera, and we'll take a walk over there. So as we get closer to the boiler, we'll be able to identify it as a Burnham boiler. We have a Riello Series 40 head or burner that's actually making the fire. Looking up toward the top on our feed line, we have two circulators on the feed line. So I know by looking at this boiler that I have two thermostats in this home because I see two circulators. There's not an indirect. So those two circulators are definitely running for heat zones. They're on the push side, not the pull side. So if it was on the pull or the return side, sometimes you'll see circulators mounted there. It is better to push water than to pull water, although both systems will work fine. Taking a look now on the side, we can see a Taco zone relay. We can also see a service switch, and then there's our tankless coil. This particular boiler gets its its hot water from cold water that enters in, swirls around through what's referred to as a tankless coil, and comes out hot. So now, as we go down, I can see there's a gauge on the boiler. I can see that the gauge is up at around 180 some odd degrees, and I'm dealing with around 15 pounds of pressure. So we've got good pressure, good heat. Now looking at the Beckett Aquasmart, I can see that I'm economizing. Its high limit has been moved down to 168 degrees, and it's standing by. There's no demand, nothing happening right now. The high limit is at 168, and the boiler's water temperature is at 183. So there you go. There's the Beckett Aquasmart. Off on the side, that is the outdoor reset sensor. That is a wireless receiver that receives a signal from a wireless thermometer that's outside, telling the boiler, telling the Aquasmart, the actual temperature outside. What that's going to do now, that's going to override the internal algorithm that gets established by the Beckett Aquasmart's brain that builds this pattern of your usage of heat and hot water. It's going to override that algorithm that gets made for the actual weather, for the temperature that's outside. So there's the Beckett Aquasmart installed on a Burnham boiler with a Riello burner on a 2-zone heating system on the push. By simply adding that part onto my boiler, I've shaved several $100s off of my fuel expense in 1 year. It has paid for itself in its first year. I haven't even talked about all the other features that it does. The boiler, the Beckett Aquasmart will recognize freeze or put you into freeze protection. If the boiler goes off on safety, it's going to know. It's going to know because it's telling the burner to make the water hotter and the water is getting colder. It's going to then energize my circulator and put water through the radiators. Granted, it'll be cold water, but moving water doesn't freeze as easily. So therefore, the likelihood of rupturing a pipe will be greatly reduced. That's just one of the many, many features that the Beckett Aquasmart is going to do. So without spending a lot of money to replace an entire boiler, you can replace your Aquastat with an Aquasmart and start benefiting from smoother, more consistent hot water in your shower, benefit from the fuel savings, and benefit with other added safety features that get added in just by putting in the Beckett Aquasmart. I hope to have you guys contact us in reference to the Beckett Aquasmart. Better yet, I'd love to come and help you save some money too by installing one in your boiler. Hope to see you soon. Thanks.